The moment you open your mouth to explain yourself, you have already lost. You believe that if you just explain yourself clearly enough, calmly enough, with enough evidence, the person accusing you will finally see the truth. That belief is not just wrong, it is the exact mechanism they are using to keep you trapped in their courtroom. Think about the last time someone accused you of something you did not do, a mistake at work you did not make, a motive you did not have, a betrayal you never committed. You felt the heat rise in your chest. You opened your mouth. You produced the timeline, the witnesses, the receipts. You laid out the evidence like a lawyer in front of a jury that had already decided the verdict before you entered the room. And when you finished, the other person did not say, "I was wrong." They said, "That's what someone guilty would say." You felt the specific cold exhaustion of arguing with a wall that cannot hear you because it already knows what it wants to believe. Here is what was actually operating beneath that conversation. The person who has already decided you are guilty is not engaged in a search for truth. They are engaged in a confirmation ritual. The psychological mechanism is called belief perseverance, the human tendency to reject any evidence that contradicts a conclusion already reached. Your evidence does not change their mind. It becomes new evidence of your guilt. The more you explain, the more you confirm their suspicion. You are not defending yourself. You are performing a confession in a trial you lost before you entered the room, and you have been funding that performance every time you opened your mouth to a closed mind. 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli watched men destroy themselves in the courts of Florence by doing exactly what you are still doing. They explained, they justified, they produced evidence to people who had already decided they were enemies, and every explanation was used against them, not because the evidence was weak, but because the listener's verdict was never in doubt. He wrote, "Men are quick to change their nature when it serves them." He meant that the person accusing you will not change their mind because of your words. They will change their story only when it serves their interest to do so. Your innocence is irrelevant to someone whose position depends on your guilt. In this video, you are going to learn exactly how to identify when someone has already decided you are guilty before you waste a single sentence defending yourself. You will learn the exact 3 words that end every false accusation, the body language that makes your silence louder than their shouting, and the psychological shift that turns your accuser from a judge into a defendant. By the end, you will never again waste your breath on someone who has already decided you are guilty. You will simply walk away, and they will be the one left explaining. Before we go further, you need to understand why your biology betrays you in these moments. Because this is not a failure of intelligence, it is not a failure of argument construction, it is a failure of psychology, and it started before you were old enough to choose it. Think back to when you were 5 years old. A parent, a teacher, an authority figure who accused you of something. What was the only exit, explanation? "I didn't break it. It fell. I didn't hit him. He hit me first." You learned at 5 years old that authority figures hold the power of judgment and that your safety depended on convincing that authority that you were good. The problem is your body never got the update that you grew up. You are walking through the world as a man, carrying the nervous system of a 5-year-old child who learned that explanation is survival. Every time someone accuses you, your nervous system fires the same signal it fired in that childhood room. Explain, convince them, make them see that you are good. The cortisol spikes, the chest tightens, the mouth opens, and you have given the same response you gave at 5. When you defend yourself against someone, you are subconsciously communicating, "You are the judge, I am the child, please accept my plea so I can feel safe again." You are not speaking as a man, you are speaking as a defendant. And human beings, primal as they are, can smell the scent of submission from across a room. The man who never explains himself has killed the child who needed permission. That is not coldness, that is sovereignty. In 1513, Niccolo Machiavelli was accused of conspiracy against the Medici family in Florence. He had done nothing. He had been a loyal servant of the previous Florentine Republic. He had dedicated his career to the administration of the city he loved. His name appeared on a list of conspirators, a list that was almost certainly fabricated by men who needed scapegoats to demonstrate their loyalty to the new rulers. Machiavelli was arrested. He was taken to the Bargello, the prison and torture chamber in the center of Florence, and subjected to the strappado. His hands were bound behind his back, A rope was attached to his wrists, and he was hoisted into the air and dropped repeatedly, each drop stopping just before his feet touched the ground. The technique dislocated shoulders, it ruptured muscles, it was designed to produce confession. He had nothing to confess. He had every reason to explain. He had evidence, he had witnesses, he had a career of documented loyalty. He had the precise kind of case that, presented correctly, should have produced his immediate release. He said almost nothing. He wrote one letter from his cell to a friend. A single line that communicates the most devastating psychological intelligence of the Renaissance. He wrote, "I have not written to you to complain. I have written to inform you that I am still here." Not a defense, not an explanation, not a recitation of his innocence, a statement of existence. I am still here. 6 weeks later, he was released, not because he proved his innocence, because the political winds shifted and his accusers no longer needed him. The court that convicted him never acquitted him. He simply refused to perform in it. The man who wrote the operating manual for human power survived the most dangerous political accusation of the Renaissance by applying the single principle he would later document with the precision of a surgeon. Never enter the frame your enemy built for you. The moment you step onto their battlefield and fight by their rules, the battle is already lost. The only winning move is to refuse to acknowledge that the battle exists. Now translate that directly to your life. The last time someone accused you at work, in your relationship, in your family, in a group of people whose opinion you valued, what did you do? You argued, you explained, you produced evidence, you performed innocence for a jury that had already filed the verdict. What did that performance cost you? Not just the time, not just the energy, the perception of power. You entered the conversation as the person who was wronged. You left it as the person who looked guilty, because you performed the role of the defendant so completely that the courtroom became real. The courtroom does not exist. There is no judge, there is no jury, there is only you and your decision about whether to step onto the stage someone else built. Now let us talk about what is actually happening when someone accuses you. Because the accusation is almost never about the thing being accused. The accusation is about the response. Every person who has ever accused you has already calculated several possible outcomes before they spoke. If you defend yourself, they win. Your defense confirms that their judgment matters. If you get angry, they win. Your anger confirms the accusation landed. If you explain, they win. Your explanation confirms you are playing their game. The only outcome in which they lose is the one where you do nothing. This is the mechanism called the accusation trap. The psychological architecture in which the trap is not the accusation itself, but the expectation of a response. The moment you respond, you are caught. The trap is not designed to establish truth, it is designed to establish submission. Every response you provide, regardless of its content, confirms that the trap has worked. Defending yourself against someone who has already decided you are guilty is like arguing your case in a courtroom where the judge wrote the verdict before you entered the room. The performance is entirely yours. The audience belongs to them. The outcome was never in question. You have been performing in that courtroom your entire life. Let us name the people who have already decided, because the title of this video contains the most important word, already. Not the people who are uncertain, not the people who are genuinely confused, the people who made up their mind before they confronted you. You can identify them with a single test. When you began your last explanation, did the other person's expression change? Not in response to your specific points, at all. Did their face open, or did it stay closed? Did their body language shift toward you, or away from you? Did they ask a question that suggested they were incorporating new information, or did they respond to your explanation by escalating the accusation? The person who wants the truth asks a follow-up question. The person who wants submission escalates. You have been treating these two categories as the same person, because you have been too focused on constructing your argument to observe the person you are delivering it to. You kept explaining because you believed that with enough evidence, enough clarity, enough precision, the truth would eventually penetrate. It does not penetrate, not because you are a poor communicator, because the wall was built before you started speaking. The man who has already decided you are guilty is not missing information about you. He has decided what to do with the information he already has. Your additional information does not correct his conclusion. It gives him more material to reframe in service of the conclusion he already reached. You are not losing arguments, you are feeding systems that were never designed to receive what you are offering. Think about the last time you watched a public figure handle an accusation poorly. They released statements, they held press conferences, they produced documentation, they gave interviews, they kept explaining, and with each new piece of information, the public became more convinced that they were hiding something, not less. The more they said, the worse it became. By the time they were finally vindicated, nobody remembered the original accusation because the defense had become the entire story. This is what overperforming innocence looks like from the outside. The innocent do not need to convince anyone. The secure do not need to be understood. The man who keeps explaining